About 6 months ago, I started working overnight at Lowe's. Now, I really like this job. I get to listen to my podcasts and audiobooks, and the people I work with are pretty laid back. I work by myself for the most part, and most importantly, I hardly have to deal with the customers. And if you've ever worked in retail, you know how important that really is. While I do enjoy working there, over the past 6 months, I've seen some really crazy things. It started off small and not really anything worth mentioning. The first thing I saw happen, I originally thought was just some kind of glitch. See, in the Lowe's that I work in, there are 2 bathrooms set up for the employees in the back corners of the store. When I first started working there, I didn't know what they were, because they were just marked employees only. But I quickly found out, after I had walked the length of the store to find a bathroom which another employee had told me was in the back. But of course, I walked right by it. Anyway, back on point. In these bathrooms, the lights work on a motion sensor. You know the types. Well, as I was walking past, I could see the light come on from under the door. I thought it was a bit weird because there are only 2 other people in the store, and I knew where they were. I went up to the door and knocked on it. There was no answer. So I opened it and it was completely empty. Like I said, it wasn't much, so I really didn't think anything of it. The next thing that happened was small as well. If you've ever been to Lowe's, you might have noticed some of the more expensive items having little green things attached to them. We call them turtles, and they're our product alarms. If someone tries to steal something with a turtle on them, once they go through the doors, they start letting out a high-pitched noise which is very hard to ignore. I was stocking some caulking, listening to the Adam Carolla podcast, when I started hearing an alarm go off. It confused me, so I went looking for it. It took a little while, but I finally found where it was coming from. It was a drill that was sitting on the ground and wasn't at the front either. It was buried about 4 drills deep and under another display. As I was pulling the drills out to get to the one that had the turtle going off, another one next to me started going off too. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I radioed my manager Mike and told him what was going on, and he said that it was okay and those things go off all the time. What was weird was at that exact time Mike was telling me that both turtles shut off. I chalked it up to coincidence and nothing more. Oh, how naive I was. Nothing else seemed to have happened for 2 weeks or so. I had put those instances long behind me. I mean, why wouldn't I? Faulty sensors and sensitive turtles sounded likely to me. I wasn't one to just jump to the supernatural explanation straight away. To put it mildly, I wasn't a believer. Oh sure, I wished there were things that went bump in the night, as I'm a long-time fan of the supernatural and shows like Ghost Hunters, etc., and I always watched Josh Gates. But I had never experienced anything myself. That was until about a month after working at Lowe's. It had started just like any other night. I went in around 7 p.m, clocked in, and started unloading the truck. It was about 9:30 by the time we were done, and everyone else had left the store, so it was just 3 of us as the night crew. For the most part, it was a pretty normal night. I was listening to a newly downloaded audiobook by Mark Tufo, and had come to working on the 3rd cart by this time. It was close to about 2 a.m, and I was working my way down towards the electrical department to restock some fuses, when I saw it. Honestly, I just kind of stood there for about a minute or 2, trying to make head nor tail of what I was seeing. A little bit over halfway down the aisle, there was an arm sticking out from under the shelving racks. It kept moving around as if it was someone reaching under their couch to look for the lost remote. Once I got at least some of my wits back, I called out to Mike. "Mike," I said. "Yeah, what's up?" Mike called back. Mike, I got, an arm," I tried to say. "Oh, that thing?" Mike said, surprisingly unsurprised. "Yeah, don't worry about it. Just don't get too close. It tends to get a bit grabby. It's fast and its reach is farther than it looks, so just stay away from that aisle for now." I was actually flabbergasted at how lightly Mike was taking this. "Oh," I said, not really knowing what else to say. "What aisle is it in, by the way?" Mike asked. "Aisle 13. Okay, just steer clear of it for now. I'll explain more later on." What I have come to understand is that no one really knows anything about the arm. It shows up, tries to grab things and pull them under the shelving, and that's about it. I've seen it about 7 times now, and never in the same aisle. It never shows up at the same time, and the only thing that seems to be constant is that it has always gone back under the shelving just before 4 a.m. One time when I saw it though, I chucked a can of spray paint at it. The moment the can hit the aisle floor, the arm shot out, snatched it, and sucked it back under the shelving. And when I say it shot out, I mean it shot out. It must have reached 3 times the length of a normal arm, and went back under the shelving in less than a second. After I saw that, I followed Mike's suggestion and just avoided those aisles until it went back under itself. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for part 2.